Hi again, Lisa. All right, so we've got it boiled for 15 minutes. It's been cooling for a little bit. You don't know how long of a period it's been in between, but it's kind of a little bit funny. I thought that this was a self-explanatory stage to the process, but it wasn't so self-explanatory for my father-in-law who didn't do this step. So you've got your concentrate. You strain it out. You don't want those coffee grinds going into you. I'm sure it's not a big deal. They'll just flush out, but it's probably not very comfortable, and I don't know. So you strain it out. And I always have my 4 full cups, and then I tend to have a little bit extra. If for some reason enough has boiled off and you only have, 3.5 or 3 cups, just top off your concentrate with additional water. I should have mentioned this earlier, you want to use a good quality water. If your tap water is fluoridated and chlorinated, you want to get yourself some distilled water. We have really high quality well water where I live. We're on a hill, so it's pretty clean water, and that's generally what I use. But definitely, it's very important that as you're trying to purge your body of toxins, that you're not putting more toxins in it, either by using a non-organic coffee or using a water, city water is not kosher. So I now have my concentrate, and for each enema you use 8 ounces of the concentrate. The good thing about doing a concentrate too is that you can generally do your enema right away. You don't have to wait for the whole coffee solution to cool down. If you did want to do one at a time, I used to just stick it in the freezer and it would cool down in about 20 minutes. But so even if this is boiling hot water, you just top it off with either your good quality town well water or your jugged distilled water, and that'll be a good temperature to take inside of you. If you're pulling it out of the refrigerator from later on and you wanted to warm it to body temperature, that's great. It's not really important, the temperature, as long as obviously you're not too high of a temperature that's going to hurt your intestines. So cold is fine. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. It might make you a little bit more chilled. It might cause a little bit more cramping. I personally like body temperature. So now I just top off my coffee. And again, I'm the same way with baking. I always add a little bit more of the ingredients that the recipe calls for. It's just kind of my style. So I've got my ready to use bucket. I think I talked to you a little bit about this. I have this stainless steel bucket, which is great. I started off using a bag, which I really, really love, and maybe even prefer. But this one is just easy to clean. It's available and ready to use. So that's what I go ahead and use. So I probably put about 5 cups, 4.5 cups total inside of me. So you got it in your bucket. You got it to the right temperature. It's important to bleed the hose to get it going. Sometimes I've forgotten. Sometimes I forget and get over to my position and then have to get up, and I could be a space cadet sometimes. But you bleed the hose just so that all of that air isn't getting into you. It's not going to hurt you if air bubbles get into you. It's not like it's going into your veins or anything. It's just going into your colon, and air bubbles in your colon aren't a big deal. But you just open your clamp, bleed the line until you get a little bit of coffee flowing through. Make sure there are no air bubbles in the line. If there is, again, not a big deal, but try to get as much out as you can just for your own comfort in the process. And then you've got your bucket and you're ready to go and lay down. I will take some coconut oil and put it on the end of my catheter, just so you see the setup. I have people do it differently. There is no set way, but this is the way that I use it. They sell these red rubber catheters that I have one somewhere around here. I don't love them. It doesn't clamp onto the end of my nozzle. I probably would love it if I had the right attachment, but I have to hold it into place, and it can get a little bit messy. I use it when I do my castor oil enemas because you need a bigger hole for that castor oil to come out, but For my coffee enemas, I just take I think I sent you a link. I bought these catheters that just clip onto the end, and they're replaceable and disposable. You don't have to replace them and dispose of them every use. Your colon, a warm, washy, sudsy wash of this is fine. It doesn't have to be a sterile environment in your colon. If you're doing something dealing with another organ, I would definitely say you want to really be mindful, but just soapy water, you want it to be clean, but it doesn't have to be sterile. Maybe every once in a while you'll want to sterilize your bucket with either a hydrogen peroxide or an isopropyl alcohol, but that's at your discretion when you feel that it's time to do a washing. On a daily use, you can just use soapy water and clean out the tubing and everything. So I'll just put a little bit of coconut oil on the end, and maybe put a little coconut oil on my insertion end, and then I will insert this. In the beginning, you want to go slow. It's very thin, so it shouldn't be too uncomfortable to insert it. Obviously, it's a new experience if you're not used to that, but about 6 to 8 inches you want it to go in. You're trying to get it past a certain point on your colon so that it hits to the area where it needs to hit to get to the vein that requires the coffee for the uptake to make the process happen. So 6 to 8 inches in will do the trick. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down now. I'm not going to bring you along for that process, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go lay down. I just do it in my living room. In the beginning, I would recommend doing it in your bathroom, in your bathtub, somewhere close to the toilet, and maybe somewhere close to somewhere where it's easy to clean up. Maybe put a bunch of towels around you, grab a book, grab a timer, just relax, close the door, and give yourself some quiet space to just get into this process. So I'm going to go lay down. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to insert the whole contents in here, and then once it's inserted, I'm going to start my 15-minute timer. Try to hold it between 12 and 15 minutes if you can. That's sort of the magic number. If you imagine that all of your blood in your body is filtering through your liver once every 3 to 5 minutes. Isn't that amazing? So the 12 to 15 minutes, it'll allow your blood to filter through, what does that work out to be, 4 or 5 times? If you can only hold it in the beginning for a minute, whatever you can do. This is just a side note. In the beginning, if you wanted to just do a water flush to make sure that your colon is clear so that maybe you'll have less cramping, that's fine. Just take about a quart or as much as you can put into your water, into your bucket, just water, your distilled water or your well water, and once it's in, release it. You don't have to hold that for any amount of time, and that'll clear out whatever gunk is already in your colon. It might make it easier to hold too. I don't do that anymore. I used to do that, but it was I'm all about efficiency these days, and for the most part, I'm pretty cleaned out, and for the most part, I'm pretty toned down there, so I can hold things very easily. The 15-minute comes and goes, and I don't even realize sometimes how fast it's gone. So once your 15 minutes is up, ideally, just go to the bathroom. Just let it all go out. There are certain points that you can massage. I would definitely, during the process, massage your belly. Start from the left side and work your way up, and then around down to the right side. And that's just going to kind of break up anything that is sticking to your colons, and it'll help release some things. It'll also help with gas bubbles. If I find that I'm starting to have a gas bubble, it's just this strong urge to go to the bathroom. Try to fight through that urge if you can. Sometimes just tapping on the area or doing a little bit of massage. Those upsurges, they come and they go. So while it might feel like an intense 20 seconds, and it might actually feel like 5 minutes, that 20 seconds, they tend to come and go, and then you tend to have a break. If you just can't do it, let it go. It's okay. You can try again the next time. Eventually, you will be comfortable with the sensations and the process. But just start slow in the beginning and don't judge yourself. This is a foreign process for most of the people who begin this process, myself included. I think I mentioned it took me about 2 months of knowing that these were an important part of the process before I actually just said, screw it, I've just got to do it. And it only took 2 or 3 enemas for me to say, wow, I'm so thankful that I did it. So that's the gist of it. I think I've covered everything. There is a pressure point on the back of your calf if you're having a hard time releasing. I don't know what it is about it, but on the right side of your calf or on your right calf, just behind your knee, there tends to be a good trigger point that for some reason just opens up the bowels and allows for a good release. Also, I'm finding that if I massage my hip, like right at that hip joint, if it feels like things are stuck, you'll feel it, and you'll feel when you're finished releasing, and you'll feel, it's just a new experience of starting to feel your body. This isn't like a day-long process. So once you're finished releasing, you're fine to go out and do your activities. Generally, you won't have the urge to go to the bathroom again. It's not a laxative, so it's not going to be this thing that just continuously needs to go out. The process will probably take between 30 and 45 minutes. And then when you're done, you're done. You can just go and do your shopping or hang out with your kids and not feel the need that you're going to, have a mess if you don't linger close to home. So that's a bonus too. I hope this is helpful, and please give some feedback to me if you need clarity on anything or how you enjoy it. Yeah, after a couple, give it a chance to do a 2 or 3, and then maybe we'll be coffee enema buddies in sharing the love of these and the good benefits that you can get from these. Much, much, much love in healing to you, Lisa, and jump on in. No time like the present to start the process. Enjoy.